a time like today, we gather together and pray for hope and survival. We are living through a worldwide pandemic, something that is so foreign and unknown to us all. Yet there has been a point in the United States history where we've all felt this loneliness, pain, and frustration, and that point in time is 9/11. The 9/11 attacks took place when I was just a baby, so I am speaking from information that I've gathered from family and other sources. Today I'm going to speak to you about how the effect of Alan Jackson's song, "Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning," had on the world. During a time of sadness, Alan Jackson took what we were all feeling and doing and put it into a beautiful song of remembrance. I'm going to begin by speaking about how it was received at the time and in the context it was received. Then I'm going to walk you through the lyrics itself and how other people reacted. And finally, I'm going to share how it applies to society today. Now let's take a look at the song when it was written and released. Let's get started with a look into the song when it was written and released. According to an article written by Billy Dukes, the song was written on October 28, 2001. Jackson wrote the song in the span of one day, claiming it was a gift. In an interview on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, Jackson claims, "Looking back, I guess I didn't want to forget how I felt on that day and how I knew other people felt." Now to fast track towards the debut of this song, Alan Jackson debuted this song at the Country Music Awards post 9/11. Not even months later, this song was debuted and everyone was taken back at what a beautiful song of remembrance this was. Now that I've prefaced all of you with the context of the song and how it was initially taken, let's take a look at how the song itself and what it meant to me. So I'm going to start with my personal reaction to the song. Overall, I believe it's a beautiful song that we can all relate to. Even if you didn't actually live through it or were old enough to remember it, it puts you in this space where you've went through everyone's situation. Now I'm going to share with you some specific lyrics from the song that I think mean a lot. I'm going to start with a lyric that relates to the children who have lost parents or family members. Now this lyric specifically really has a lot of impact because in high school I was classmates with a couple of kids who did lose loved ones in 9/11, and that's something that a lot of people suffered through. The next lyric I want to show you is speaking about all of the heroes and the ones that passed away on 9/11. Now I think this lyric is important because often during times of tragedy we tend to overlook the heroes and the lost. During times of tragedy, heroes are the people that make this tragedy better, and those that have lost we will always remember. Now the last specific lyric I want to show you is how Alan Jackson relates love and prayer and hope to most of the song and how he remembers this day. Now I think that he says the greatest part of all tragedy is coming together with love, and that's really important because regardless of our religious beliefs or how we feel about the tragedy, we all together come out with love in some sort of way. Now I want to share with you another thing that happened after this song surfaced. Robert Forner, a known writer for The Atlantic, posted on Twitter in 2015 the hashtag "Where Were You?" This was to do on the anniversary of 9/11, and he wanted to remember what certain people were feeling on this day. So I'm just going to share a couple of the tweets that I thought were important to remember. So Aline shares, "I was explaining to my children that this was the watershed moment for my generation, wondering what theirs will be. Now, foreshadowing to now, we are going through a life-changing moment in our generation, and I think this was their life-changing moment for their generation." Another tweet I want to share is by Treg P. He says, "I was sitting in my 5th grade classroom when sounds of all of the teachers' phones ringing echoed through the halls. Now, I think any point where a lot of people's phones go off is almost like an oh my god moment. None of us know what's really going on. The third tweet I want to share to you is by Wes Bowling. He said, emerged from a high school Buloff lecture, gathered for a school-wide assembly, surreal, somber, stunned auditorium. Those 3 words, I think, summed up basically what everyone was feeling during this time of tragedy, and I think it's really important to remember those 3 words. Now, the last tweet I want to share to you is from what a lot of parents were experiencing during this time. A local on the 8th says, my son lived near the Pentagon 6 hours before I heard from him. So I know a lot of parents I've talked to were always worried about where their children or their loved ones were at this time, and that's something we all do in a point of tragedy. Now that we've dove deep into how it made myself and others feel, let's take a look at the hard times that we're experiencing now and how music helps that. So now that I've dove deep into how it made myself and others feel, let's look at how the song applies today and the hard times we're experiencing. So for me, music has always been a comfort during tragedy. Artists have a powerful outlet to reflect on issues and tragedy, and it almost provides us listeners with a comfort blanket of some sort. Now in today's era, going through COVID-19, a lot of artists have showed that music can comfort people during tragedy. A couple weeks ago, iHeartRadio hosted a living room concert featuring a ton of mainstream artists. I think this was a really good way to react to a tragedy because not only was it a benefit concert, but it really provided comfort for a lot of people. And I think in terms of Alan Jackson's song being remembered today, we do remember 9/11 every single year, and it's almost takes you back in that time when you want to remember. And I also think that this song really shows us how we want to remember how we felt in certain times of tragedy. Alan Jackson's song has motivated me, myself, to keep a daily journal throughout quarantine so I can one day share what I felt during my personal tragedy to my kids. Now today I've spoken to you all about Alan Jackson's song, Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning? This song debuted only months after a tragedy struck and took the United States by storm. The evocative lyrics left myself and many others feeling as if we lived through it as well. It provided a very good summary of how we all felt. In addition, I spoke to you about how music brings comfort to our society in America and how Jackson's song is a symbol of what we're going through currently. Although 9/11 and a pandemic may not seem the most connected points in history, they for sure for me evoke the same feelings. We all experience pain, loneliness, frustration, and sadness, but the important thing to remember is that we have music to unite us all, and music provides the comfort we need in a time of uncertainty. Thank you.